A desperate plea could change everything in Genoa City, but before the truth fully comes out, one arrest may put a man's life at risk. Just when Lily Winters thought there was finally hope for Malcolm, the entire situation spiraled out of control in a matter of seconds. Kane Ashby was preparing to leave for New York to help save Malcolm's life, but instead of boarding a plane, he ended up facing handcuffs and criminal accusations. Now Lily is being forced into an impossible position. Should she trust the legal system to do the right thing, or fight harder than ever to protect the only chance Malcolm may have? And if Victor Newman is truly behind all of this, how far is he willing to go before someone loses everything? The emotional pressure is building fast on the young and the restless, and this latest storyline is putting nearly every major character in a dangerous position. Wednesday's episode brought fear, anger, suspicion, and heartbreak all crashing together at once, and honestly, it feels like this story is only getting started. At the GCAC, there was briefly a sense of warmth between Lily Winters and Kane Ashby before everything fell apart. Kane surprised Lily with a special coffee filled with all the flavors, and for a moment, the two were able to share memories and laugh together again. The conversation about Kevin Fisher making similar drinks for the kids added something important to this scene, because it reminded viewers of the family connection that still exists between Lily and Kane, despite all the complications in their history. That quiet moment mattered because Y&R clearly wanted viewers to remember that underneath all the fighting, betrayals, and business drama, there is still emotional history here, and for longtime fans, those scenes hit differently. This is not just about corporate sabotage or fake evidence anymore. This is about people who once built a family together now being pulled back into each other's lives during a crisis. But the tone shifted almost immediately once Malcolm's treatment became the focus. Lily explained how serious the situation really is. Malcolm's aplastic anemia has already created enormous fear for the family, and now everything depends on Kane making it to New York for the bone marrow donation. The pressure on Lily feels overwhelming because she knows there are too many moving pieces already. One delay could become disastrous. That is why Kane's arrest felt so shocking. Just as Kane convinced Lily that they should travel together to New York, Christine Blair Romalotti arrived with a police officer and completely changed the direction of the day. The timing alone made the situation feel suspicious. Kane was literally preparing to help save Malcolm's life when he suddenly got accused of corporate sabotage. Naturally, Kane immediately assumed Victor Newman was responsible, and honestly, many viewers probably agree with him. Victor's shadow has been hanging over this entire storyline from the beginning. The accusations, the fabricated evidence, the pressure on Phyllis Summers, the growing panic around the AI scandal, all of it keeps circling back to Victor in one way or another. Even when Victor is not physically present in a scene, his influence still controls the atmosphere. And that is exactly what makes this story so compelling right now. The audience comments online are already showing how divided viewers have become. Some fans believe Lily has every right to fight for Malcolm, no matter what rules she has to challenge. Others believe the entire corporate theft storyline has gotten so messy that everyone involved should finally tell the truth. One viewer pointed out that Lily should do everything in her power to save Malcolm because other people constantly use the law to get what they want anyway. That comment really captures the frustration many fans are feeling right now. The justice system in Genoa City rarely feels fair, especially when powerful people like Victor Newman are involved. Another viewer defended Lily even more strongly, saying she is simply trying to save her birth father's life and questioning why Nate Hastings seemed so calm about the possibility of Kane being unable to help Malcolm. That reaction is understandable too, because from Lily's perspective, every second matters now. And honestly, Lily's panic during these scenes felt completely believable. When Nate tried reassuring her that Kane could technically donate from anywhere, Lily immediately focused on the complications. She explained that everything had already been arranged in New York and worried that too many variables were now in play. That response showed how emotionally exhausted Lily has become. She is no longer thinking optimistically. She is thinking like someone preparing for disaster because she knows how quickly hope can disappear. Then came one of the strongest emotional moments of the episode. After Kane's arrest, Lily called Christine back to the athletic club and practically begged for help. She explained Malcolm's medical condition in painful detail and made it clear that Kane is Malcolm's only bone marrow donor match. That detail raised the stakes dramatically because suddenly this is no longer just about a criminal investigation. A human life now depends on what happens next. Lily even suggested alternatives like an ankle monitor or a police escort just to get Kane to New York safely. That desperation said everything. Christine clearly looked conflicted, but she also seemed trapped between compassion and legal responsibility. She admitted she did not know whether such arrangements were even possible, but Lily refused to back down. She pleaded with the DA to make it happen because, in her mind, this is literally Malcolm's only chance to survive. And this is where the emotional complexity becomes interesting. There are viewers who still resent Lily because of her past treatment of Kane. One audience comment bluntly claimed Lily did not care about Kane until now and deserves this. That reaction may sound harsh, but it reflects how divided the audience remains about their relationship history. However, what makes these scenes work is that the show is not presenting Lily as someone suddenly in love with Kane again. Instead, it is presenting her as a woman willing to put aside years of conflict because someone's life is at stake. That is a major difference. At the same time, Kane's situation creates another uncomfortable question: what if he really is innocent? If Victor Newman fabricated evidence against Kane, then this story could become even bigger than viewers expected. One audience comment argued that Victor used AI first against Kane and manufactured evidence for Christine, suggesting the entire corporate scandal has spiraled out of control. And honestly, the more this storyline develops, the harder it becomes to ignore those suspicions. Meanwhile, over at Summers' conglomerate, the tension surrounding Phyllis Summers continued getting worse. Phyllis was already furious as she barked orders at her PR representative over the phone, desperately trying to manage the public fallout from the arrest drama and the accusations involving fabricated evidence. Michelle Stafford continues bringing so much nervous energy into these scenes because Phyllis always sounds like someone trying to hold herself together while standing on the edge of collapse. Billy Abbott quickly entered the chaos with concerns of his own. Billy openly questioned how reckless Phyllis had been, especially considering the growing accusations from the Newman family. But Phyllis immediately pushed back and once again blamed Victor Newman for manufacturing fake proof. What makes these scenes fascinating is that nobody fully trusts anybody anymore. Billy does not fully trust Phyllis. Phyllis does not trust Victor. Michael Baldwin is caught between loyalty and legal strategy. And underneath it all, everyone seems terrified they could become the next person arrested. Billy eventually softened slightly and admitted he may have been too harsh toward Phyllis, but his fear was obvious. He wanted reassurance that he would not be dragged down by this scandal too. Then came another huge revelation when Billy admitted Sally Spectra is pregnant. That news added another emotional layer to the storyline because now Billy's legal fears affect more than just himself. Sally's future and their baby's future are suddenly tied to whatever happens next. Phyllis tried calming Billy down by insisting there was no actual proof against him since his name only appeared in emails. But even then, Billy remained uneasy, especially once Michael Baldwin entered the picture. Billy clearly does not trust Michael representing Phyllis because of Michael's long history with Victor Newman. And honestly, Billy has every reason to be nervous. Michael has always existed in that morally grey area where loyalty and strategy often overlap. The confrontation between Billy and Michael carried serious tension. Billy warned that he knows enough to become dangerous if anyone tries sacrificing him to save themselves. That line felt important because it hinted Billy may expose damaging information later if pressure continues building. In other words, the cracks are already forming. Billy directly warned both Michael and Phyllis not to throw him under the bus. Otherwise, he promised he would expose Phyllis and Kane right alongside himself. That threat alone suggests this story could explode into something much larger very soon. Then the conversation between Michael and Phyllis became even more revealing once Billy left. Phyllis immediately suggested blaming everything on Kane, which honestly says a lot about how desperate she has become. Fear is clearly controlling many of Phyllis' decisions right now. But Michael pushed back against that strategy. Instead, he argued that proving the evidence was fabricated would be smarter, although he also admitted that would be difficult considering Phyllis really did steal Newman Enterprises. And that moment hit hard because it reminded viewers of the uncomfortable truth underneath all the manipulation. Even if Victor fabricated parts of the case, Phyllis is not completely innocent either. Naturally, Phyllis hated hearing Michael say that out loud. She immediately rejected the idea and doubled down on her determination to stand against Victor no matter what happens next. That stubbornness is classic Phyllis Summers. Even when she is cornered, she refuses to surrender emotionally. Still, viewers can already see the walls closing in around her. Elsewhere, Billy later updated Sally on Kane's arrest and everything happening with Phyllis. Sally immediately worried Billy could end up arrested too, especially with the investigation continuing to grow, but Billy insisted he still felt relatively safe for now. The important phrase there is "for now," because on Y&R, safety rarely lasts long. And finally, the episode shifted toward another storyline that may become extremely important moving forward: Holden Novak and Claire Newman. At Crimson Lights, Holden shared the news about Malcolm's donor match and the planned New York trip with Claire, but underneath the conversation, there was clearly another motive. Holden seemed eager for Claire to come with him, and the flirty banter between them continued building emotional tension. What makes these scenes interesting is the mystery surrounding Holden's Lowe's Angel's secret. Holden hinted that Claire could finally hear the full truth if she agreed to join him on the trip. Claire insisted she would never manipulate him into confessing anything, but Holden surprisingly offered the truth anyway. And that line matters because it suggests Holden may finally be ready to stop hiding whatever happened in Lowe's Angels. The writers are clearly building toward a reveal here, and longtime soap fans know these secret confession storylines rarely stay small. Whatever Holden reveals could easily affect multiple relationships at once. Overall, this episode did an excellent job balancing emotional family drama with corporate suspense and legal danger. The strongest part of the hour was easily Lily's desperation to save Malcolm, because those scenes felt grounded and human despite the larger soap twists happening around them. At the center of everything is one painful question: will the legal system allow Kane to help Malcolm before it is too late? Because if Victor Newman truly manipulated events to destroy Kane, the consequences may become far more devastating than anyone expected. And if Lily loses Malcolm because of delays caused by this investigation, the emotional fallout could permanently change several relationships forever. One thing is becoming very clear on The Young and the Restless: nobody is walking away from this storyline unchanged.